Most people get into the wrong relationships again and again and again based on two reasons. Hi, my name is Bridget. I'm a certified EFT practitioner, and I focus on helping you stop performing and stop pretending and stop escaping from your life so that you can actually live it and just be the person you came here to be without all the noise that you have to fight off and defend yourself from during this game of life. Now, I want to use an example of Tiana Roblard, and this is absolutely just for educational purposes. I've never met her. There are a lot of girls out there who are in the influencer world that I do know, and she is one in particular who's a few years younger than me. I've never met her. I don't know anything about her. But what I do know is a lot about the dynamics of relationships and athlete relationships specifically. So as sweet and kind as Tiana is, I do believe that part of the reason her relationship with Corey did not work out is based on the law of positive coherence and positive interference. This means that we can change the emotional state of another person if we are acting from an authentic place, meaning we're not afraid to tell someone when we're mad. We're not afraid to exert boundaries. We're not afraid to have our own lives. Not saying she didn't. We're not afraid of their emotional state, and our safety is not threatened by their emotional state. Now, you might be saying, like, okay, that's a lot to ask for a healthy relationship. It is a lot to ask for a healthy relationship. However, the consequences of not having those things in a relationship are detrimental to everyone involved. So one of the reasons I think the universe pulled Tiana and whatever his name is, Cody apart, is because she was not in a relationship where she was accurately able to express boundaries, have a real personality. You could see on the camera that there was a lot of instances where he was just being pacified or irritated. There just wasn't this dynamic of connection because there probably wasn't fair and healthy conflict. Now, this isn't Tiana's fault. A million young girls are taught to not rock the boat, be sweet, be kind, just be a good friend to everybody, always do the right thing, don't make anybody mad. And then we get in situations like this and everyone's like, you're an idiot, why are you dating someone who treats you like shit? Well, the answer is because society literally teaches us to put up with nothing but bullshit. So here are the few things for those of you watching who may have been in this situation or trying to get out of it that you can understand. The second you introduce conflict into a situation, you are also introducing honesty. When you draw boundaries and you tell someone and we don't even know what drawing boundaries means. I feel like I need to teach a whole class on that. But as a woman, number one, you are judged by society, not by what you look like, dress like, talk like, walk like, or sound like, or how much money you make or what you do for a living, but by how you execute, exert, and maintain boundaries when being pressured. Not when things are good, not when things are easy, but when everyone's in your face, how you execute and exert your boundaries. You are judged based on this from the time that you are a tiny girl. The society does not care how young you are. If you've ever gone to high school, you know that you are judged based on how you let men treat you, how you let other girls treat you consistently. This is how the world decides how they're going to treat you. Now, why are we constantly looking for each other's weaknesses, and why do women like Tiana try to become people who do not look for other people's weaknesses? Well, it's simple. It's because they know what it's like, and nobody wants to perpetuate that. However, just because you don't want to perpetuate a dynamic, it doesn't mean you just roll over to it and say, no, I'm good. People think that there is an innate fear of worthiness running around in our brains, but that's not true. If you look at the way society interacts with each other, the Salem witch trials, basically everyone on social media, we are innately looking for whether or not people are good, and we're looking innately to prove that we are good. We don't have a fear of worthiness. We have a fear of whether or not we're good. And this gets weaponized against us because the amount of grief we feel if we get ancestrally or, archaically separated from the tribe. That's an archaic belief. But being separated from the tribe at this stage in the game is not going to kill you. I mean, yeah, you might get canceled, but what does that even mean? And based on the way the universe works, based on Kabbalah, even if you do get canceled, the universe forgives everybody and everybody gets a second chance. Everybody's equal in the game of harming one another. It just doesn't matter, unfortunately. It doesn't mean you should do it because you're going to inflict harm on yourself and hurt other people, but there's also not some grandiose punishment. We all think there's grandiose punishment, and there's not. The only punishment really inflicted on us is really the consequences of our own actions. It's not the universe doing anything to us. The universe doesn't say, hey, you're a serial cheater, you're never going to find love. If cheating is an authentic action, if you're saying, I'm not getting my needs met, then the universe sees that as authentic. The universe doesn't have the same rules as us. You might be like, oh, universe doesn't favor, God doesn't favor cheating. I don't know. Believe what you want, but we'll look how this played out. So if Tiana grew up and was constantly told, be a good girl, be sweet, be nice, and she got some validation out of it that she's a good person, then of course she's never going to stick up to one of these guys. And it's not just her. She's just the prime example right now, and I would be silly if I didn't help other women by talking about this. Here's the thing. We think that if we trade our boundaries, we trade our opinions, our thoughts, our no's for just being kind and being understanding, that we're going to get it back, that people are going to be kind and understanding of us. And we're going to have this, we often think that if we like push a cart up the hill, that when we get to the top of the hill, someone else is going to see and acknowledge, like, oh my gosh, you pushed this cart up the hill for me. It's an illusion. It's not true. Nobody cares. Everyone is wondering why you're pushing the cart. Everyone is wondering why the heck you're pushing the cart, and it's because you were conditioned to do so. So most importantly, happiness, which is exactly what all of us are looking for, right? That's why we're constantly besmirching one another, because we think that if we snuff out everybody who's good or bad, that we'll be happy. Let me know how that's working. The truth is that you have to decondition yourself from this whole being good, and then if you're not good, something terrible is going to happen, and that you're not allowed to make mistakes, and that you have to be endlessly patient, you have to be endlessly perfect and good and blah, and lovey-dovey. And if you listen to her podcast with Alex Earl, there was a lot. She understands conceptually a lot of information. There's a lot of stuff here that makes perfect sense. But one thing that I know she's struggling with, and I know this because I've been there, maybe it wasn't with athletes, but like in my own life, more so with friends, is the idea that like she deserves someone who is stronger, better, harder, better, faster, stronger than anyone she goes after, because it's an opportunity to avoid disappointment. It's an opportunity to avoid grief. It's an opportunity to not have to change or challenge ourselves. And I'm not saying she's avoiding a challenge. I don't necessarily get that impression from her at all. That's not what I'm saying. This isn't about her. This is about the way we're conditioned as women. She's just the example I'm using. But it is so much easier to go for someone who you feel is maybe below you and feel like you have some stake in the game, some control in the game. And then when you get trampled by someone who you thought was less of a threat to you, you have the opportunity to realize that we underestimate men a lot. And we think that if we just show up and like we're above them and we give them like what they don't deserve and aren't asking for and don't even want, inauthentically, that they're not aware of it. But they are. Men are so hyper aware of the inauthentic behavior that comes forward, and we are taught this. We are taught this manipulative way of loving, and I'm not calling her manipulative, and I'm not saying that this is like her. This is the way we're taught to exist, and there's a lot of girls watching her, and I'm happy that we're seeing it not work out, because here's the truth. It's never going to. You cannot, in this astrological climate, Pluto is in Aquarius, the gaps between time and space, matter is less dense. Like, you can't fool anyone. And picking a partner who's less of a threat to you does not mean you are operating with less of a threat. It means you are picking an enemy and you don't even know it. The art of war and the art of relationships are unfortunately, but also fortunately, very, very, very similar. I really do think that picking someone just because they are maybe less of a threat, they're not who you think would cheat on you, not who you think would hurt you, they have more docile like components that you're just more familiar with, is a kiss of death. It is asking to end up in the same situation, been there, done that. And the goal here is not to pick a better guy. That's not it. It's not about the guy you pick. It's about the way you approach that guy. It's about the way that you show up. It's about treating everybody like you are you, treating everybody equally, and having expectations of how everyone treats you, which is a heck of a lot scarier and a heck of a lot harder than just breaking up and moving on. I mean, breakups aren't fun, but at least you're not confronting your own inner demons and realizing that you contributed to the problem. However, this pattern will not stop until you change internally, until you become okay with the idea of picking the guy and interacting with the guy and changing and being comfortable enough with yourself to interact with the guy who you think is better than you, because he's not. If you would like to learn more about this, I'm teaching a class on September 23rd. I'd love to have you there. So much love to you, Tiana. And if you want help with this, I would love to freaking help you. I know I can. I have been there, and I know I can help you, and I've seen so many women fall into this trap, and there just isn't support, but this is my arena, and I can help you get back in yours in a really positive, helpful, fast, effective way. So much love to all of you, and if you want to learn more, come to my workshop on Monday.